And we are back. It's Car Con Carne. I'm James Van Oswald. Thank you for joining me, being part of the show tonight. Now, I'm recording this on a Wednesday night. Happy Hump Day. Earlier tonight, I recorded another episode worth your time and attention. I talked to Eric Clements, who had this fascinating story of discovering a band from a bygone era of Chicago, a band called Lorna Donnelly and the Veil. He found their cassettes at a thrift store for like 40 cents, brought them home. They blew his mind. He went through the process of tracking down one of the surviving members of the band. Long story short, which you can hear in full detail, he ended up pressing those songs onto vinyl, streaming them, basically giving this band a second life decades later. Really cool story. That was earlier tonight. And coming up, lots of big plans on Car Con Carne this weekend. Sal Ebenanti, longtime graphic novelist and creator, will be joining me back in the car. We're going to Johnny's Beef. We're going to roll up our sleeves. We're going to get those beef and sausage combos. We're going to have them loaded up with Jardinera. Can't wait for that. And before I bring my guest on for right now, my latest guest on Car Con Carne, I do want to thank my friends at Shure for providing this lovely and really magnificent sounding MV7X podcast microphone. I think it makes my voice sound resonant and perhaps more meaningful, but I'll leave that for you to decide. In fact, I'll leave that to director Blayne Weaver to decide. How do I sound?
You sound Maleficent. Maleficent? Isn't that a bad guy from a Disney movie?
It is. Mellifluous, perhaps?
There you go. There you go.
I'm glad we could talk about grammar right out of the gate. Blayne Weaver is a returning guest. Cupid for Christmas is the new movie that debuts on Hulu, Hulu, this Saturday. It is a family-friendly rom-com. A year ago, Blayne, you were on this podcast and we were talking about one of your movies that was not at all family-friendly.
No, no, that would be Getaway, and it was a classic slasher flick, which is fun in its own right. Check it out on Amazon. But it's very different.
For sure. And here we see the breadth and the diversity of your skills as a director. General premise: Cupid had a good run, but he needs some time off. And Ruby Cherub is angling for the gig. Where did this story come from? How did it land on your desk?
That's a very good question. Well, the writer is a woman named Patricia Harrington, and she and I both work for Capital Arts Entertainment in Los Angeles. And well, we do several projects that way. And we were trying to think of something, high concept and different and fun. And this story just kind of came to me, and I was like, this sounds like a lot of fun. And then we tore into it, and like I think the first question is like, who do you get to play the actual Cupid? And I think Richard Kind, iconic, comedic, dramatic, amazing actor, was the perfect find. And once that was happening, I was like, oh, this is it. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Richard Kind, if he's not a household name, everyone knows who he is.
He's one of those faces where you're like, that guy, I love him. What was it? But
yeah, I love him on Curb. I love him on Mad About You. I mean, he's just iconic and the perfect cantankerous Cupid. Just the guy just needs some time off.
He does. He enjoys working, and I'm very thankful for that.
And I like the spin on this because as far as holiday movies go, we've seen plenty of stories where Santa needs a break. But if Santa needs a break, surely the other icons across all the holidays need some time off too. They're working just as hard, just in their own way.
Exactly. And I love it. There's this whole thing where, Cupid is ready to retire, and he's a little, he's tired of our acidic view of romance and love these days. It doesn't fit with his, classic understanding of romance and whatnot. And he's just done with the whole thing. And so he's got Ruby, played by the incredibly talented Melanie Stone, who's supposed to take over the bow and arrow. But he's a little unsure about whether she's ready for it. So she gets one final test to find love for the most romantically hopeless person on earth, who happens to be a charming professor at a university, played by Ryan Carnes.
Let's talk about Melanie Stone, because I think this is fantastic casting. She's got this wonderfully wholesome girl next door charm to her. Just
she does.
That innocence. I mean, that's exactly what you needed for that role.
Yeah, and like I agree completely. We so lucked out with her, and like one of the things that I really wanted to do with this movie. It's my second Christmas movie. I made a movie about 3 years ago called Santa Girl with Jennifer Stone, no relation, and Devin Werkheiser and Barry Bostwick, and it was a great, fun, enjoyable movie. But I wanted this one to feel a little bit more rom-com, a little bit more, big budget 1990s, Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, funny, clever, biting wit. And with the two actors that I got, Melanie is just so funny and smart and quick, and so like you get to get these really talented people together and just watch them play. And because the goal is, of course, you want to make a family friendly, Christmas film that checks all the boxes. But also, I want to make a movie that I enjoy. That's a fun, smart rom-com, so that I can like it, my mom can like it, my nieces and nephews can like it, and it hits all of the enjoyment factors.
But honestly, Blayne, isn't the goal of doing a Christmas movie to make it one that becomes a part of people's routines every year? It's like an annual thing. Like, isn't it the ultimate goal of a holiday movie is have it just be part of their
Absolutely,
their holiday?
Absolutely. And I feel like a lot of them just not to talk badly about the genre in which I'm playing here, the sandbox that I'm in, but some of them just seem like they're so paint by numbers, and they're so just spewing them out as quick as humanly possible. And that's not really how I look at it. I want exactly what you say. I want a movie that we can watch every year at Christmas, and that hopefully other people embrace that way. I know that Santa Girl has people that really love to watch it every year and get a kick out of it, and that's what makes me happy. Like the revisiting. I know it's also a business plan by the higher ups,
Yeah.
but that's not really, doesn't really work out for me. It's just about whether you like the movie and whether it's something that you might tell a friend about.
And one thing that's acknowledged in this movie is the fact that modern day dating it sucks. I mean, dating apps are mentioned right out of the gate. Like all the rules are different, and like this movie, Cupid for Christmas, doesn't go down the road of traditional courtship. It acknowledges that it's a very different universe out there than you might see in a Hallmark movie from 1995.
Right, exactly. And I think that that's part of, keeping it topical. And, this is a movie that's filled with magic. It's filled with, silly Cupid humor, but also like it has to acknowledge what is here. You know what I mean? Like this doesn't happen in its own little snow globe. This is, in a real world. And it's only funny to me if I can watch it and be like, okay, that's a clever observation. That's, a good joke there. And it feels like I also, the romance and the love has to feel real, has to have weight to it. And I feel like we really did that with this movie.
And a movie like this is incomplete without the smart alecky, sassy foil, which in this movie is Philomena.
That's right. Natasha Benham, who's amazing and super funny. And she basically plays the another Cupid protege who very much wants to take the job from Ruby. So, maybe she, plays a little dirty here and there, but she's great. What's funny is Natasha and I worked together last year. I wrote a movie called American Pie Girls Rules, which was a big Netflix movie, and she was one of the stars of that movie. So when we were prepping this and casting this, I was like, there's this actress that I met on set one day, and but she did the line so good and was so funny. Can we bring her in? Can we talk to her? So it was awesome. I got to bookend her last two movies, and they both have my name on them, so I get to take credit for everything that she does. Right.
And again, the movie is Cupid for Christmas. It debuts. We're recording this on the 17th of November. It debuts this coming Saturday night on Hulu, just in time for Thanksgiving week. Everyone's already in holiday mode at this point.
I am. It's just been, look, it's been a rough couple of years, man. Like I want a Christmas tree. I want turkey. I want Thanksgiving and Christmas combined together. Let's just like let's just carve
let's
up
blow this out. Let's
for
do
the
this.
next 3 months. I mean, I'm in Los Angeles, so pretty much the town has shut down already, until well into January. So we might as well just be enjoying ourselves. I'm
And
putting stockings up tonight.
And we all get sappy this time of year too, don't we?
Yeah.
A movie like this definitely strikes a chord. And I mean, the mission statements right there up front from the beginning. No one believes in soulmates or true love. That's the challenge, and it's your job as director and telling this story to prove otherwise.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you did.
I think that's exactly it. And as you pointed out about Melanie Stone playing Ruby. Ruby is very optimistic. A matter of fact, at the beginning of the film, one of her flaws, according to Cupid and Philomena, is that she's too romantic. She's always looking for the one, and instead of just kind of shoving people together and being like, you'll be happy, she's a romantic. So it's great to have a romantic, and then the role that Ryan Carnes plays has been hurt, emotionally with love. It's never worked out for him. He's a cynic. So having the optimistic romantic and the cynic, have this chemistry and be able to talk about these things is one of the most fun things for the movie to me.
So you recorded this last year during peak COVID time.
Yeah.
And you had to be scrappy, didn't you? You had to be surgical and just get it done.
It was a crazy experience. We were the first film, I believe, in Virginia. We shot this on location at Shenandoah University. Ryan plays a college professor, and so it was mostly on the university campus. And we were one of the first ones to get approval in Virginia, and one of the first, several dozen in the country to deal with the SAG rules and the guidelines. And we were on the phone with these conference calls, and I was just so overwhelmed by the requirements. And I'm like, I just don't know if this is going to work. But thankfully, Capital Arts stepped up and, gave us the tools that we needed. And like we're talking about, testing 3 times a week. We're talking about putting people in isolation before they shoot, before they get back on a plane. It's the only movie in my experience that I've directed where I didn't get to really spend any time with the talent. We were kind of in separate worlds for most of it. I play a small role in the movie, and that was like the first time that the actors had seen me without my mask on, but it was great. And we took it all very seriously, as I think you have to. And, thankfully everyone remained healthy and we got through it. And like a week after we wrapped, I'm like, everybody's good. What a relief it was.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly. But man, everybody was so excited just to work, no matter what the restrictions were. Nobody was complaining. Nobody was mad. They were just like, whatever, where do you want me to stand? I'll go over there. And I really respected the respect that my team had for, what we were struggling with.
I almost hate bringing stuff up from 2020. I feel like, we're all emotionally done with it, but it's important in telling this story. And I think so many creative people had to find new ways to do old things and had to find challenging new ways around the realities of the world. And you did it with this movie. So the question is, as we head into Saturday and the release into the wild, what does that feel like? I have no concept of what it feels like to have something like this, a film ready to unleash and debut. Do you get anxious? Are you one of those guys who Sunday morning, are you going to be looking at numbers? Like, what does that feel like?
I'm not really a numbers guy. I definitely want to give the film the best chance it has to find an audience. That's really the thing that drives me. And I think, most of the talent, it's like my DP is not looking at numbers. My actors, they just want it to be out in the world and for people to be like, I saw your movie, I really enjoyed it. Right. And that's the kind of thing. And especially coming out of COVID, like one thing that was interesting was I had 2 movies that came out during this time that we live in, Getaway, which the horror film that we talked about, and American Pie. And both of those movies would have had premieres. They would have had parties. They would have had events that allowed us to be like, let's celebrate this piece of art that we made together. And that is one of the most strange but powerful effects of this time, is that you don't get the celebration. And
Yeah.
it's just kind of like, it's out there and it's like, okay, cool. Well, I'm happy about that, but I wish that I could see the people who made it with me and raise a
Right.
glass and celebrate. So, the fact that we're kind of on the other side of it, we're still not able to, all get together and sit in a theater, and just because of the nature of the movie, that most of people are East Coast and blah blah blah. But it is great to be able to celebrate it, and for it to hit Hulu, that has such a great vast audience.
Fast, and timing is everything. This is the right movie for the right season at the right time. I'm going to stop live streaming, but Blayne, you stay right there, okay?
Got it.
All right, that's Blayne Weaver again. This coming weekend on Hulu, it's there all season long. Cupid for Christmas on Hulu. That man right there is the director. Watch it and just feel good about life.